to, okay, feel free to share your video, and we are gonna have a very, I hope, interactive session. And yeah, so I look forward to not just seeing your name on the screen, but seeing some faces so that we can and definitely have a very good conversation. So just give me one moment while I put up our PowerPoint. Okay, can you confirm if you're seeing the first slide that reads "The future is digital"? Feel free to unmute yourself so it's easier for me. Okay, Martha said yes. Okay, so there's a lot of things on the screen, so just give me a moment. So our topic today is "The future is digital" and how women shape port digitalization. And I'm really looking forward to engaging you in a fruitful discussion. And these slides will just be used as a tool to guide us along the way. So at any point in time, I welcome you to definitely unmute yourself and ask whatever question, or even just share a story from your end. So we're gonna start with introductions and an icebreaker. And we're gonna have our virtual roundtable. So all you need to do is give your name, your company, so that everyone here is au fait with who's in our group, and what do you like most about working in the maritime industry. So I'll go first, and then Martha, if you don't mind going, and then we'll just go around in a circle and end. I'm sorry if I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, Nieb. Nieb. And so I'll go first. So my name is Kemi Brewster, and I work at Barbados Port Inc., as mentioned, for the past 11 years. And what I like most about working in the maritime industry is just that it's multifaceted and is always changing. So there's several avenues to innovate, be it from an operations standpoint, finance, administrative, or marine perspective. And plus the workforce is so diverse with persons from all walks of life and different skill sets. It's just a interesting place to be a part of on a day-to-day basis. So I will hand over now to Martha, if she doesn't mind sharing just her name, the company, and what she likes most about working in the maritime industry.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm Martha John, and I work at Dominica Air and Seaport Authority. And what I like most about working in the industry is that you meet a lot of different people in all different areas, and you get to basically, as you said, like you get to work in all different parts of the industry, operations, accounts, all the different parts of the industry, and you get to interact with so many different people, and it teaches you a lot. You actually learn a lot of, you may not find a lot of women maybe now interested in maritime, but I think there are a lot of people who are interested, a lot of women specifically who are interested, but sometimes they don't get the opportunity to really showcase their interest. So I think it is, working in the maritime industry is really a great experience.
Thank you so very much, Martha.
You're welcome.
And up next is, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Yuner.
Good morning. Are you hearing me? Hello?
Hi.
Okay, hi, good morning. Are you hearing me, Claire?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. My name is Rachel. I'm from the Great Support Authority as look. What I like most about the maritime section is
It's breaking up a bit, so I'm not sure if you're using headphones. So we are not hearing you all the time. I think we're hearing your background noise now, so you can try again.
okay.
No? Okay, so what you can do in the interim is just type your short bio in the chat, and I'll definitely read it out at the end, if you don't mind. Janelle. Yes, Janelle, can you also give just a brief introduction to yourself, your name, your company, and what you like most about working in the maritime industry? No, Janelle, we're not hearing you. But it does have that your mic is unmuted. So you can do the same and just type in the chat as well. That's fine. And just looking at the list of persons here. And up next, I'm not seeing Janice nor Magneta. And not seeing Bernice. I'm seeing a Eso Porte. Not sure if that is one of the ladies I would have mentioned.
Hi, the Meganita that you see there is Shelly Weeks.
Oh, okay. Apologies. Shelly, you can go ahead with your introduction.
Yeah, I'm Shelly Weeks from Nevis ANC Port Authority, and I'm in charge of operations. However, what I like most about working in the ports is the different activities that you have to deal with at the port. The work from working on the pier, you know, to dealing with customers and so on. It's a very interactive area, and I like that. And you learn a lot while working at the Port Authority.
Definitely. Thank you so very much. So it's Shelly Weeks and not Magentia Shelly.
No, it's Meganita.
Magneta, sorry. Okay. Thank you so very much. And
Okay.
last, Niab. I'm really bad at names, so sorry. Niab, if you're there, if you can just give a brief intro. Okay, she may also be having some technical difficulties. So thank you, ladies. I definitely have some friends from Puerto Dominica, Oliver Henderson. So just give him a hi for me. Martha, please. And Shelly nice to meet you. I'm not sure if there's a Louis Hendricks there. I would have interacted with him during a PMAC session. And then from St. Lucia, Niab, if you can tell Nicolan, I said hi. So let's get into the meat of matters. So I'll just go quickly. My personal journey in the industry started in 2011, where I joined the organization as a trainee computer 2. And in 2013, I successfully passed my 2-year apprenticeship program. And in 2017, I was promoted to the computer programmer 1, where I then supervised the development team. And then in 2020, I was promoted to my current post as assistant manager of digital innovation and development, which is a department formed and given the mandate of managing the business's innovative projects. And these projects boast a blend of existing and emerging technologies that align with the company's goal to be the most innovative and green maritime hub by 2030. So that's my 11 years so far. So a bit about Barbados Port Inc. As you see here, we opened in May 6, 1961. We are a small multi-purpose port handling 90% of the imports into Barbados. So we're a very import dependent economy. As mentioned, our vision is to be the most innovative and green maritime hub in the world by 2030. And we handled approximately 1,100 vessel calls yearly. So I thought it best that at least, so there is a lot of narrative with digitization and digitalization. So digitization is the process of converting data and documents and processes from a manual or physical format into a digital format. So this ultimately is you going from a lot of writing to a lot of typing, whereas digitalization is the practice of utilizing digital technologies to transform your business process. So ultimately, this results in opportunities for efficiencies and increased revenue as you enhance your processes. So always strive for digitalization. So some of the challenges that when I did my personal reflection that I saw given our topic was the pre-COVID mindset. So at that time, persons were comfortable with face-to-face interaction to complete processes. They were not very open-minded to change, and leveraging technology was not positioned as a strategic advantage. Pretty much technology was seen as a supporting context. You only need it when something goes wrong. So the next challenge is lack of representation. And as mentioned earlier in the beginning of the session, there's an underrepresentation of women in this industry. For example, me personally, I'm the only female in my department. And there's also gender biases and stereotypes, both in real life and in the media, as specialists working in a digital or maritime industry are often pictured as men. So unfortunately, there's a lack of role models to inspire women to study STEM. So that would be science, technology, engineering, and math, or even work in the maritime industry. So for me personally, there was no one that I could aspire to be that would have already been in the role. So that would have also hindered me being able to navigate as smoothly as possible. So there's number 3, leadership position gaps. And it could be difficult for women to reach managerial and decision-making positions in these industries. Also, you have immense difficulties in getting qualified people to be interested in these areas, as they lack opportunities to break the glass ceiling that persists. So it's therefore essential to encourage more women to participate in both industries to tackle this challenge. As you can appreciate, you would more find persons when you're at school talking about they're wanting to be a doctor or lawyer, going into other fields as opposed to maritime and technology. And lastly, for challenges, there's a lack of work-life balance. So there's a struggle to attract more women, and the retention of those who do enter the field is also an issue. So women in these careers are more likely to leave within the first years as they lack work-life balance. And the reasons for leaving include burnout due to working long hours after leaving the physical boundaries of work, as well as the significant personal sacrifices that ones would put in place pretty much to sacrifice for their careers. So in terms of the sake of managing the household. So from a personal standpoint, for me, from early out, I made the cautious effort not to have kids due to look when promotions were on the table. Maybe this was not the right approach, but that is what my reality was at the time. So a few opportunities that I just want to point out. And like I said, I want this to be an engaging discussion, so you can stop me at any point in time. I actually would prefer if you have so for opportunities, COVID-19 required the development of several critical systems aimed at reducing face-to-face contact and cashless operations. This is globally. So persons then had to adapt to increasing their dependence on digital solutions. So all of us here would have attended several Zoom meetings. You had to VPN from home to work. You had home deliveries as you weren't able to go to the supermarkets at a point in time. Persons, wear digital devices, so Fitbit, telemedicine, various dependencies on digital solutions. So technology now, given the advent of COVID, is seen as a business enabler and is included in business plans, master plans, and corporate decisions now, which is a good thing. Number two, promoting digital skills and education. So taking concrete actions to tackle the lack of digital skills is essential by providing the necessary training and education. I'm just losing my cursor, so just give me 1 second. I am sharing two screens. Oops. I just had it just now, sorry about that. So promoting digital skills and education, taking concrete actions to tackle the lack of digital skills is essential by providing the necessary training and education, I believe. And this then creates opportunities for employment in this field. And this is not only from a software development standpoint, but from an end user standpoint. So I know some of you work in the finance department and operations department and even the administrative department. So you are utilizing digital tools daily, and you want to be not only comfortable and competent when using them, but those that work in the department with you, for them to also feel comfortable with using the technology that is there. So a finance clerk, for instance, feels confident when processing customer payments when using the digital solution. So in Barbados, we would have developed an e-payment platform which allowed customers to be able to make their payments online from the comfort of their home and not have to physically come to the port. In the back end, finance clerks would then have to go in and view reports and be able to do their necessary balancing and reconciliations. So there's that. And there's also avenues for developing dashboards that gives, from an administrative standpoint, the ability to prioritize your action items on a day-to-day basis. And then you can take that a step further and use AI to then suggest the order with which you set out to do these tasks, because it's basing it on the time you would have taken in the past to do them. So thirdly, commitment to equality. Together we can achieve more. And this also begins by sharing personal experiences to encourage and support the growth and development of others, so that they don't make the same unnecessary mistakes. But don't get me wrong, mistakes are obviously bad. That's how you learn. But as mentioned, unnecessary mistakes. So for instance, at BPI, a major change occurred in 2018, where the hiring of 5 female managers occurred in management. So previously there were only 2. And this was championed by our CEO. And he wanted to ensure that there were more women involved and wanted a more balanced management team. And a bit more stats, we had our first female chairman in 2018, and then also our first female minister with responsibility for the port was announced in 2022. So at least there is definitely good change coming. And lastly, opportunities is the creation of diverse teams. So research has shown that more diverse teams lead to better decision-making and more innovative products and services, which is good for any company or business in general. So I'm gonna pause here because I don't want to bore you, and ask you to share some of the challenges or opportunities that you have experienced so far in the field, and just share with us so that we can have some discussion or even a question. While you get your thoughts together, I will just introduce Yuner Mitchell, and she is a junior clerk at Dominica Air and Seaports Authority. And what she likes most about working within the maritime industry is learning about the operations and the different areas / sections within the port. Thank you very much for sharing, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Martha or anyone wants to give their own perspective about the challenges or even opportunities that they would have faced in the maritime industry? We're not hearing you if you're talking. I know Martha's. Okay, so the question, thanks Martha. Do you think that women are less interested in how technology works as opposed to men? For example, being able to program apps. That's a great question. And back before COVID, I would say yes, but COVID was the great equalizer. And given that everything required some digital components, so it wasn't a case where, technology is just for males and females would be more in the fields of caregivers and nurturers, like a doctor. It's definitely equal the playing field. And I think that persons are looking into how they can make the best of the new normal. And for me, for example, I would have interacted with ladies that would have been interested in technology, but it wasn't a case where it was the conventional programming. So there are other areas to tech. So there's cybersecurity, there's project management, There is business analytics, and that would obviously come in to high demand as it relates to being able to forecast and predict what can happen so that you can make better business decisions. And there are lots of areas in tech. So it's not only from a development standpoint. That probably was the notion back in the day, where that was the only thing that persons would typically identify tech to be. And so that has changed, I would say. I mean, it could be better. As I would have mentioned earlier, I'm the only female in my department right now. But there have been persons, when we have done interviews, there would have been females that would have been a part of that process, and they would have been interested in development, but they may have said things that at the time would show that their interest is more so on the development, or sorry, on the management, or the management, or then even more so from the administrative side, as opposed to what the responsibilities of the particular post was. So in essence, there are opportunities for women, and it's just a case of probably not being aware of those opportunities, and that can be rectified with mentorship programs, being able to discuss these things with other persons that are in the field. For me, I didn't have someone that could point me in the right direction. So everything would have pretty much just happened because I was at the right place at the right time. So I was always interested from young in technology because it was one of the easiest subjects for me. But that's not to say that I may have possibly gone into finance, because that's what I was doing when I was in China at the time studying. So it would all boil down to opportunities, and for persons to not only just be looking at, okay, you're a female, but I think a male would be better at this job. That should not be the notion anymore. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. I was really hoping to hear your voice and to get some more dialogue from the others. So if anyone else wants to jump in. Martha then went on to add, I think that at an early age, it should be introduced in schools, encouraging more young women to subject areas such as math, science, and technology. Yes, I agree with you, definitely. And you seem to be looking at my slides, because that's something that I'm going to mention in a few, but it's definitely an area that should be addressed, because thinking back, IT was in our curriculum, but I was the only female in that class. And I think persons, or females rather, would have shied away because they didn't have others to say, this is a good field to go in. You can also be just as good as your male counterparts. So maybe it could be a case of lack of encouragement from others, or just the fact that they didn't have anyone else that looked like them in the same class that may have deterred them. But yes, I definitely agree with you that introducing STEM subjects from early should assist with that. Just looking at the chat to see if I missed anything else. Naib, okay, I love it. So Naib has been employed at the St. Lucia Air and Sea Ports Authority for the past 10 years. And what she enjoys most about working within the maritime industry is its diversity in terms of all there is to learn about the industry. Thank you for sharing. It's so difficult to keep track of the chat and then the presentation. So like I said, just feel free to stop me at any point and use your mic, and we can go from there. So my next slide is just to give you a snapshot of a few of our digital innovations at Barbados Sport Inc. And so we have the e-payment platform, so that would be used more so by finance and our customers. There's the cargo gate customer facility and the cargo tracking facility. So those will be used by our customer and operations teams predominantly, as well as security. The electronic e-manifest, that would be leveraged by our agents submitting their manifest and distribution lists. We have an online booking system, so that would be used by customers when they are applying for appointments to into the port. And the cashier module is where the commercial charges are collected. So that's the application that would issue receipts to customers. And then we also have the terminal operation system that we utilize. So that would be from operations, marine, and security departments. They would all utilize various screens within there. And then we have shed management solution that is used predominantly by our operations team, but also security. And we would have recently developed our maritime single window, and this platform seeks to address the issue of multitudinous, non-harmonized reporting obligations. So it aims to achieve this by linking information flows pretty much between the ship and the relevant public authorities, which would be customs, port health, immigration, together in a coordinated way. So right now, or prior to the MSW, a lot of that process would have been manual and paper-based. So the Maritime Single Window acts as the electronic repository. And then Port Community System it essentially would manage and automate logistics in an efficient manner through a single submission of data connecting both the transport and logistics chain. So that would be from both a public and a private partnership, as opposed to the MSW, which would have been heavily just based on maritime operations. So the port community system would improve the competitive position of the seaport overall. So some strategic considerations that I would have thought of and is the port of the future is a port that's best able to adapt to the world, our changed world. And our activities must be more transparent, predictable, and more efficient than ever. It is a digital and it's climate neutral as well. And we all in the Caribbean, as you would know, we are heavily impacted by the changes in weather systems. So the environment is something that persons need to keep at the forefront. So the strategic considerations, as mentioned by Martha, is providing STEM. So that's science, technology, engineering, and math, and maritime education at an early age. As this is important that girls know from early on that the door to sciences and maritime industry is open to them too. Mentoring is a pillar of support. And this can be via professional groups that provide a community of like-minded individuals, or even one-on-one sessions. Keeping skills relevant and up to date. And this can be done by taking your assessments in your various fields, certifications, courses, attending industry conferences, Number 4, reduce leadership position gaps. So by removing biased thinking and stereotypes will be key. This will be key to career advancement for all. Number 5, create a culture of empowerment. So the leadership team or your leadership team needs to be committed to developing an engaged and empowered workforce, equipping employees with the tools to meet evolving demands. And number 6, diversity boosts innovation. So diversity is key as it boosts innovation. Number 7, leveraging external resources. So knowledge sharing and capacity building through various external resources. So there are various programs that OAS has and scholarships. I would have been fortunate to attend one in 2019, which was conducted virtually. There's also WiMAC, Vista Caribbean Maritime University, PMAC, which is Port Management Association of the Caribbean, UNCTAD, they have train for trade courses, and then as well as the IMO. So I would have recently completed a fellowship funded by the IMO's capacity building and training program. And this session was called Advanced Course on Port Operations. And it was a 6-week, 4 of which was done virtual due to COVID. And then 2 weeks we would have spent in Le Havre, France, where we got to pretty much engage in knowledge transfer on port management and the implications of emerging technical issues and the implementation of the IMO conventions. So as you would already be aware, the IMO has mandated the use of maritime single windows across the globe. So there would have been discussions around that, and it would only, it would focus on maritime and operations, but also from a digital standpoint as well. And so that's something that you can look into as well. And I would have met some of your colleagues when I was on that training session. As I mentioned, to Niam, Nicola Myers, he was there, and Oliver Henderson from Dominica. He would have also been in the cohort with me. Number 8, support improve operational efficiencies by implementing ISO certifications. So this is pretty much a documentary review across all agencies. So it would then aim to streamline and simplify your import and export processes via standardizing your operations. So this would be beneficial to all, be it if you're from an operations or finance or administrative standpoint, in terms of being able to ensure that you get best quality work from everyone, because everyone is on the same page as knowing what is required. Number 9, address manpower requirements. So with this, I was saying you need to be clear on your end goal or vision and assess the technology and also the human capital required to achieve this. They go both hand in hand. So it's not a case where you implement technology, it's not supposed to be seen as, oh, this is going to take away jobs. It's not. It's actually going to enhance them and make persons even more efficient. So that message needs to be clear. And then lastly, just being proactive. So there's always opportunities and problems to be solved, and women should in general just step up, take action, and demonstrate accountability. So I'm gonna pause here and ask you, let's go back and ask you if there's any resources that you would have used that was beneficial to you in your field from finance or operations? Is there anything that you would care to share with us so that we can also look into that? Because I think in sharing your own knowledge transfer of your own opportunities would help foster an environment where other females not only have the credentials, but just the opportunity to engage fellow like-minded individuals. So I'm gonna go to the chat. See if anyone has any other resources that they care to mention that they think is required so they can be even more successful to grow. Nothing as yet.